Hi, I'm James Eade at the Eade Foundation. And I want to tell you a little bit about the Eade Foundation. We're dedicated to building communities through chess. And if you're part of a community, you are never alone. And we don't care what language you speak, where you come from. If you play chess, you're part of the chess community. And if you're part of a community, you are never alone. So today's show is the Chess Files. And the question we're asking today is, are draws boring? And the answer is it depends. It depends on what kind of draw it is, because wins and losses can be boring. There's no question about that. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of draw was it? Because draws can be exciting. Highly accurate play can be a draw, but it can be very exciting and very instructive. There are also games that end in a draw where one player seems to be winning the entire time, but without making any obvious error, it still ends in a draw because of accurate and determined defense. Now, is that boring? I don't think so. But there are draws that are pretty boring. Neither side is really trying to exert their will, and neither side is really trying to win. They just want to escape for the game they might have said we didn't play. And those draws are indeed boring. Well, some of these draws can be edge of your seat exciting. And the question is, are there too many draws? And are there too many draws that are boring in today's game? And this came up a lot after the recent World Championship match. And I read a lot of commentary on the internet about match between Magnus and Karuna. And it's like, they ended in 12 draws. So by definition, they must have been boring. Well, they weren't really boring to me. They were above my level of understanding, and I was kind of fascinated by some of the play. And at certain points, I thought for sure one of them was winning, but they ran into just obstinate defense, and they could not convert the point. So the question to me is not whether draws are boring, but whether this particular match was boring. And I don't think it was. But then I thought, well, everybody on the internet seems to think it was, and maybe it's just me. So I wanted to go out and talk to some people that I really respect and are good, really great players on their own right, and get their opinion. Now, the match was decided by a tiebreaker, which was rapid chess. And pretty much none of us are satisfied with the idea of rapid chess as being the tiebreaker. So they talked about, should it be 12 games or 16 games, or does that matter? And I just wanted to share with you what I found. The first person I talked to about it was international master Elliot Winslow, and he thought the match was characterized by accurate play. They came to interesting moves and ideas. So he did not think it was boring. He thought the quality of play was extremely high. And the object is to win the match, not to entertain the spectators. So that was Elliot's opinion. And he did think 16 games would be better than a 12-game match because, a couple of those games were on the razor's edge of winning or losing. And what if one of them had come through? Then the next, if it's an extended match to 16 games, maybe that one of them would have broken through, and then the other one would have had to throw caution to the wind to try to even score. Now, the only thing that I wanted to share with you is that if you're an organizer, the difference between 12 games and 16 games is different in terms of money. It's much more expensive to put on a 16-game match than it is a 12-game match. And some people don't understand that, it takes money to do this. The World Championships are not just the cost of the prize money. It's the housing, the hotel expenses, and there are other things that go into this that are daily expenses, and every day costs more money. So, the reason it was 12 games was because it's the shortest that they could really afford and think was legitimate. And you can argue that maybe 8 games, maybe 16. Who knows? I don't think there is a magic number. But I also talked to Nick Defimian, Nick DeFermian, I'm sorry, and he thought that the match was also interesting, and the classical time control games were very impressive in terms of the quality of play. And he thought it was kind of a disaster that it was settled by a rapid play. We all agreed on that. And he thought maybe making it a 16-game match would make a difference. He also said that it was clearly established that these were two of the best players in the world. You know, so this was a world championship match between the champion and the contender. And we're all pretty much in agreement that the challenger has to win. You know, if it does end in a tied result, the current champion holds the title. And we all thought that that's the way it should be. I also talked to Grandmaster John Fedorowicz about this, and he thought very much so that the object of the match is to win it. You know, spectators are secondary, consideration. The sponsors are secondary consideration. The idea is to win. So if I'm better at rapid play and the rapid play is the tie breaks, you know, I'm just going to get to the rapid play and win that. You know, so that's just the sporting aspect of it. And he didn't really have a problem with that. But he thought it was just a normal match between two very high level grandmasters. So he didn't think there was anything out of the norm. It was very much a normal match. The fact that it ended with 12 draws, you know, that's unfortunate, but you know, it was still interesting. There were still productive ideas. There were still things that we could learn. So was it a complete waste of time? Not at all. None of us thought that. So this is the Chess Files, and whether draws are boring are in the eye of the beholder. And we are on every Friday at 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And the answers are out there. Thank you for joining. And this has been James Eade of the Eade Foundation.